Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Not Your Average Tea Time podcast. I'm your host, Tobaria, and today we're going to be talking about the Jets going up to Foxborough and getting absolutely abused by the New England Patriots. That's the best way to put what happened in this game. The Jets lost 52-13, and at no point did it look like it was a close game. It was just strictly deja vu from start to finish. The Jets got behind 17-0 right away because the Patriots just pulled out all of the stops, all of the trick plays right away in the first quarter. And before the Jets blinked, they were down 17-0. But 52-13 isn't even the biggest news of the game. The biggest news of the game is that Zach Wilson got hurt right in the first quarter, right when it looked like he was starting to pick things up. He finished for like 6 of 10 with 53 yards, but he hurt his right knee. He ended up with a sprained PCL. I don't even know what that means. Basically, he's out for 2 to 4 weeks. So he's going to miss the Bengals next week and the Colts on Thursday Night Football. So sorry, nation. You get to watch a lousy Jets team on Thursday night, and they don't even have their star quarterback up. But let's talk about what went wrong. Basically, the Jets went up there and just laid down. They heard all of the talk about how the Patriots were the Patriots and they have this great defense, and they made Sam Darnold see ghosts, and last time Zach Wilson played them, they had 4 interceptions. So they just went up there and just laid down, and it did not help that the defense looked completely lost without C.J. Mosley, their starting inside linebacker. With him out, they were able to just run roughshod over the Jets. I think they had 200 yards passing. Mac Jones was able to parlay that into some nice play-action passes right across the middle, and it seemed like it was a scrimmage. That's how bad the defense looked today. The defensive line just didn't show up. They did get 1 sack, but it was their first since the Tennessee game when they had 7 against Ryan Tannehill. Let's talk about that game. That game, you're sitting here looking at Tennessee the way they played. They beat the 2 darlings of the AFC, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs, and beat them pretty convincingly in the last 2 weeks since they lost to the Jets. But they lost to the Jets. That's the only win the Jets have. They got swept by the Patriots. And this time, Bill Belichick, who seemingly can't forget whatever it is the Jets did to him, just decided to run the score up. And I know some players were a little salty about it, but that's one of those situations where if you don't like it, this is the NFL, you have to stop it. He's not going to let up, especially because it's the Jets. Rinse, wash, repeat, though, when it comes to the right guard and the center. They're the 2 who were responsible for Zach Wilson getting hurt. And I don't know why, but somehow when he left the game, they decided to play a little bit better. So Mike White stepped in, and then he looked halfway decent. But Mike White is Luke Falk 2.0. A lot of people don't know who Luke Falk is, and that's because he played last with the Jets. And then it just became fully apparent that this guy should not be starting for a professional team. The positive news I have, though, is that our boy Elijah Moore, podcast favorite, actually showed up a bit. He had a rushing touchdown that went for like 20 yards, had some nice catches, made some moves in space to make defenders miss, and everybody was like, hey, do more of that. He's one of your best players. Maybe try throwing him the ball. See what happens, just a whim. Another positive thing I guess we can say here is that drops were not an issue this game. Where drops had plagued Corey Davis and the running backs previously, not this time. Corey Davis came to play. Kudos to him because he came up and said at the podium one time, like, hey, we're ready for New England. Like, we got a surprise for him. And he actually came and showed up. He didn't drop any passes. He was still engaged running routes after Zach Wilson went down. But, I think when Zach Wilson went down, that kind of took the life that they didn't have out of them. And here we are. We're going to have the next 4 games without a franchise left tackle, a franchise quarterback. Who knows if C.J. Mosley is going to be back. But the hits just keep coming. And I guess you can say this is the National Football League because, sure enough, Jamie Sherwood, he's a rookie linebacker, out with a torn Achilles. So they're already down C.J. Mosley. They're down Jamie Sherwood. They're down their other starting linebacker they signed in free agency, Gerard Davis. They're down Blake Cashman. That's 4 linebackers the Jets were down. So no wonder the Patriots were able to just run right through them. Recapping the game is hard for me because I really, really enjoy Bill Belichick and the system that he's provided, the longevity he's provided, the leadership he's provided, the strategy he's provided up there in New England throughout my years as a Jets fan. But it's hard for me to admire that when it comes to him playing the Jets because then he still has a personal vendetta from when he was the Jets coach for one day, and then he decided to write, "I retire" on a napkin and slide it to the owner. And it was just like, why? Why would you do this to the Jets? Whatever his reasons were, they're still very personal to him. And so every time he plays the Jets, any chance he gets, he runs the score up on them. He's ruthless in that way. It is what it is. Looking forward to the future, though. We're on to Cincinnati, as Bill Belichick famously penned in a press conference. Now, I will say this about Cincinnati. Everybody was looking to get their head coach, Zach Taylor, fired his first 2 or 3 years in the league. Cincinnati stayed the course. They didn't fire him. They decided to draft Joe Burrow, but they didn't protect him, and he got hurt last year. He's back this year. They got him some better protection, and they drafted his old teammate, Jamar Chase, wide receiver 1 out of LSU with the first-round pick. What did that do? The Bengals are now the 1 seed, and they just went to Baltimore and laid a licking on the Ravens. I say all that to say this. It can turn around fast. 2-3 years doesn't seem fast, and I know fans are tired of waiting. They're tired of hearing that this is a rebuilding year. But if we actually give the head coach, who's a rookie, the offensive coordinator, who's a rookie, and call him plays, the quarterback, who's a rookie, just some time, 1 year, maybe 2, I'm sure that they'll turn it around. They have to listen to me when I give them this next plan on how to make the Jets better again. Just draft good players. Stop drafting reaches. Stop drafting projections. Just draft people who are good at playing football. It shouldn't be that hard. We're on to Cincinnati. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Not Your Average Tea Time Podcast. I'm your host, Tabaria. Go Jets.